You know, it wasn't us that imposed sanctions, and so the initiative for their removal should come from those who imposed them. But, as a whole, our assessment is that they bring no good, either for those who imposed the sanctions or for those who they are imposed upon. And the mutual losses are only a minus for those companies that are working in Russia, including foreign companies as well. And in as far as the market is a global one and a competitive market, it's quite difficult to compensate for this with something else. Therefore, we welcome the attraction of foreign investments, the work carried out by foreign companies, which, unfortunately, as a result of the sanctions, currently sometimes has been difficult. The question of sanctions is undoubtedly a political one, but the people who can answer best of all about how these sanctions play out from the point of view of the operations of their companies are the heads of companies themselves and the representatives of these companies. We are constantly hearing from the business community that today these sanctions are beneficial to nobody. Traditionally, Russia has already been supplying gas to Europe over the last 50 years, and of course, we are following the development of the European gas market. Currently, we are seeing the beginning of the restoration of gas consumption that stagnated over the last few years. That's the first thing. Secondly, in the next few years, we are going to see a reduction of production in the European market. Specifically, this will require an additional volume of gas that Europe have to import. In this regard, I would like to say that gas, in our view, at the current time of all the hydrocarbons, is the most environmentally friendly energy resource. Today, gas is fairly cheap to produce and very convenient for consumers, and Russia, which has very large reserves for the delivery of gas, is planning to play its part in delivering energy resources to Europe, to play its part with the competition that we are currently seeing. It is currently a fairly competitive market, and that's fine. We are prepared for this and believe that from the point of view of the balance of interests of gas producers, including Russia, and consumers in Europe. Today's ministerial level meeting demonstrated that the countries have been behaving very constructively towards each other. The meeting was very positive, and to be honest, we didn't expect that things would be so positive in terms of the agreement in January, and the actions of the countries exceeded our expectations. Many of them exceeded their planned figures, such as Saudi Arabia, Algeria and Kuwait. Of course, there was a lot of work to be done in terms of monitoring the situation and the future implementation of the agreement, because we don't have any final statistical data. But nevertheless, we are already seeing that the market has actually become significantly more balanced. We are noticing a reduction in volatility and the stabilization of prices, and even a certain potential for a rise in oil prices. Firstly, we are very closely following the plans, the announcement that the US administration is making, and it's very pleasant for us that energy occupies first place on the new administration's program. We believe for the industry as a whole, this is good, because the energy sector should develop, and the fact that a large country, the largest in economic terms, such as the USA, will be developing its energy is overall a positive thing for the whole energy sector. In my view, in this regard, it would make sense in the future to resume the dialogue, which we enjoyed before 2014.
Do you anticipate with the appointment of Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State that that kind of dialogue will progress or reconvene?
Rex
Tillerson is a very famous energy industry specialist, and I'm certain that his actions will be positive as a whole for the industry.
Is there a chance that President Trump's energy plan could push prices lower in the short term?
Every country selects its own development strategy for the energy industry, and in general, the world is globalized to a fairly high extent, especially in the energy sector. Therefore, everyone, relatively, in terms of their aims for strategic development, for large countries such as the USA, they will be taking into account the forecast for energy development, and those actions will be taken by other countries in terms of the development of their own energy sector.
And in terms of what this energy plan could mean for climate change initiatives, President Trump has spoken quite a bit over the last several months about clean coal and about throwing out many of President Obama's initiatives in the climate change sphere. Are you worried that that threatens what other oil-producing countries have tried to achieve?
Еще раз хочу сказать, что стратегия развития
I would like to stress that the energy development strategy is a matter for each individual country, and the choice in terms of the share of various energy resources in the energy mix depends on many internal factors. In Russia, we have a fairly diversified energy mix, which from the point of view of the consumption of energy resources that are available, including atomic energy, coal power generation, thermal generation, gas power generation, renewable energy sources, and we believe that the structure of the diversification depends to a great extent on the structure of the economy. Therefore, every country has the right to determine the share of its energy mix from the various sources of energy available. I repeat, we are using all our sources of energy, and we don't see anything bad in certain sectors developing in other countries. It's a question of competitiveness primarily, competition between various fuel types.